Why are there so many poorly written books that sell millions of copies and are adapted into blockbuster movies? Why are there so many movies with bad dialogue and even worse acting, movies that are riddled with plot holes but rake in tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of dollars at the box office? In other words, why are there so many bad writers and lousy filmmakers who seem to experience success? It's not fair that these seemingly lazy, untalented hacks become rich and successful when there are so many hard-working, brilliant writers and filmmakers who toil in obscurity. Well, here are the top 3 explanations for this odd and irritating phenomenon. Reason number 3, practice does not make perfect. The old adage practice makes perfect is misleading. Just the sheer act of putting in 10,000 hours practicing a craft will not automatically make you better at it. Cranking out books and movies for years and years won't necessarily make you a better writer or filmmaker. No need to name any names, but we can all think of authors and filmmakers who have released dozens of books and movies. But their work not only doesn't get better over the years, it seems to get progressively worse. Why is this? It's because if you engage in aimless practice and blind repetition, what you're doing is baking in bad habits. And that's exactly what a lot of bad writers and lousy filmmakers do. Bad writers and lousy filmmakers only rehearse what they're good at. Let's say you're a bad filmmaker and you're really good at writing over-the-top, outrageous dialogue that audiences find funny and entertaining. Your work isn't thoughtful or insightful, but it's good for a cheap laugh. Because you're being rewarded for this type of cheap, easy entertainment, you're going to keep making crappy movies over and over. You may be raking in millions of dollars because your crappy movies manage to find an audience, but you're not making any progress from an artistic standpoint. Reason number 2, there's no incentive for bad writers and lousy filmmakers who are commercially successful to change and try to do better. The work of bad writers and lousy filmmakers may get bad reviews from critics, but bad writers and lousy filmmakers tend to disregard criticism. They figure, I must be doing something right if my books sell and my movies make money. Once a bad writer or a lousy filmmaker becomes a multimillionaire, it's possible that they aren't aware that they have any bad habits. They simply dismiss critics as not knowing what they're talking about or not understanding what the public wants. They see critics as out-of-touch art snobs. Bad writers and lousy filmmakers who are commercially successful are often surrounded by yes men. A best-selling author or a famous director who churns out crappy work is unlikely to seek out constructive criticism. And those who are in the inner circle of famous people are likely too intimidated to tell them the truth, that their work sucks and they're capable of doing better, if only they'd put in a little more effort. Furthermore, once a bad writer or a lousy filmmaker becomes successful, not only do they not have an incentive to change, they might actually adopt a superstitious mindset. They might think, if I change anything about what I'm doing, that might make the magic wear off and my fans will abandon me. I've developed this voice that my fans seem to respond to, so if it ain't broke, why try to fix it? Reason number 1, a lot of best-selling authors and famous directors are good storytellers, not good writers or technically proficient filmmakers. And what that means is that good writing consists of following certain rules and structures. But good storytellers not only break the rules, oftentimes they don't know the rules in the first place. There are many entertainers who have never taken a singing lesson, can't read music, never taken an acting class, but they instinctively know how to perform. Similarly, with writing and filmmaking, there are a lot of people who are natural-born storytellers. They don't have a degree in communications and never studied public speaking, they just know how to tell engaging stories. Bad writers and lousy filmmakers who are commercially successful are the proverbial lottery ticket winners of life. They're like people who smoke 2 packs of cigarettes a day and never get cancer, people who drive without insurance and never get in an accident, people whose genes allow them to eat pizza and donuts and guzzle beer every day and still have 6-pack abs. Unfortunately, many of us are not born with these gifts. It's not fair, but that's reality. For the rest of us, we have to work at things. And of course, once you know the rules, You can break them and color outside the lines. If you're a good writer and filmmaker, how do you work at becoming even better? How can you avoid the pitfalls that bad writers and lousy filmmakers often fall into? There are a variety of things you can do. Number 1, you can get people to evaluate your work and give you feedback on how to continue to improve. Think of yourself like an athlete who not only has the potential to make it to the Olympics, but win a gold medal. You need a good coach who can see your blind spots. A coach can evaluate your performance and tell you, this is why you're having trouble breaking that track and field record because you're not training the right way. You're wearing the wrong shoes or you're expending too much energy running too fast at the beginning of the race and you need to conserve your energy for the end, etc. You don't necessarily have to hire a formal coach. You could find an informal mentor who has experience in your field, join a writer's group or seek the advice of peers you trust who can review your work and give you constructive feedback. And when it comes to accepting feedback, you take what has a ring of truth and incorporate it into your work and disregard the rest. You take the best and leave the rest. What's most important is that you consistently engage in deliberate practice. Through deliberate practice, you identify your weaknesses and actively attack them. No matter what you do, success isn't guaranteed. But by being proactive and intentional at identifying your strengths and weaknesses and working to hone your skills, you can give yourself the best chance at being successful. And not just commercially successful, but achieving creative fulfillment and putting art into the world that can have a lasting, positive impact.
If you like this video, please leave a comment, share it, and subscribe to my channel.